Lee Tae-min stared at the red warning lights flashing across his ship's control panel. The cargo vessel Lucky Star shook violently as another system failed. Steam hissed from broken pipes, and the smell of burning circuits filled the air. Not good, Tae-min muttered, wiping sweat from his forehead. He had been a cargo ship captain for 10 years, but he had never seen his ship fall apart this fast. The engine made a grinding noise that meant big trouble. His ship drifted near the edge of Valerian space. The Valerians were known across the galaxy for their blue skin and strange abilities. Most humans avoided their territory, but Tae-min needed to get through to make his delivery on time. The main engine died completely. Now Lucky Star floated helplessly in space like a broken toy. Tae-min tried the emergency beacon, but even that was not working. He was alone and stuck. A small Valerian ship appeared on his sensors. It moved toward him slowly, like a careful predator. Tae-min had heard stories about Valerians. Some said they could read minds, others said they ate humans for breakfast. He hoped the stories were wrong. The Valerian ship docked with his. Tae-min grabbed his old laser pistol even though he knew it would not help much against advanced alien technology. The airlock hissed open. A young woman stepped through. She had pale blue skin that seemed to glow in the dim light. Her hair was silver and her eyes were bright purple. She wore simple clothes, not the fancy robes that Tae-min expected from a Valerian. "Hello," she said in perfect English. "My name is Kira. Your ship looks broken." Tae-min lowered his weapon. "I'm Tae-min, and yes, everything is broken." Kira walked around the engine room, touching different parts with her bare hands. Her fingers glowed with soft blue light wherever she touched. "I can fix this," she said, "but it will take some time." "Why would you help me?" Tae-min asked. Most aliens he met wanted something in return for help. "Because you need help," Kira said simply. She smiled, and Tae-min noticed that her teeth were perfectly white and a little too sharp. For 3 hours, Kira worked on his ship. She pulled out strange tools from her bag and sang softly while she worked. The melody was beautiful, but alien. Slowly, the red lights on Tae-min's control panel turned green. The engine hummed back to life. "Amazing," Tae-min said. "How did you do that?" "Valerian biotechnology," Kira explained. "We grow our tools instead of building them. Your ship should work fine now." Before Tae-min could thank her properly, alarms began screaming throughout the area. On his screen, he saw 3 black ships approaching fast. Pirates. They were the worst kind. The ones who killed first and took cargo later. "You need to leave," Tae-min told Kira. "Those ships are dangerous." "I cannot leave you," Kira said. "My ship is too small to run from them. We must hide here." The pirate ships surrounded Lucky Star. Their leader's voice came through the radio, rough and mean. "Give us your cargo and the alien girl. Do this, and maybe we let you live." Tae-min looked at Kira. She was trying to be brave, but he could see fear in her purple eyes. He made a decision that would change his life forever. "No deal," he said, into the radio. The pirates attacked immediately. Plasma bolts hit Lucky Star's hull. The ship shook, and sparks flew from damaged systems. Tae-min grabbed Kira's hand and pulled her toward the emergency shelter in the back of the ship. A plasma bolt burned through the wall right where they had been standing. The next bolt would have hit Kira directly, but Tae-min pushed her aside. The energy beam struck him in the chest instead. Pain exploded through his body. He fell to the floor, his vision going dark. The last thing he remembered was Kira screaming his name and her hands glowing brighter than before. When Tae-min woke up, he was in a medical bay that looked nothing like human technology. Everything was curved and organic, like being inside a living creature. Soft lights pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. Kira sat beside his bed. Her eyes were red from crying. "You are awake," she said. "I thought you were going to die." "What happened to the pirates?" Tae-min's voice was weak. "My father's ships arrived and drove them away. But that is not important now." Kira took his hand. "You saved my life. In my culture, this creates a sacred bond." An older Valerian man entered the room. He was tall and impressive, with dark blue skin and silver markings on his face. His clothes showed he was someone very important. "I am Ambassador Nox Velanathi," the man said. Kira's father, you have done something that cannot be ignored. I just helped her, Taemin said. Anyone would have done the same. No, Ambassador Velanathi shook his head. You risked your life to save hers. In Valerian law, this creates a life debt. The only way to repay such a debt is through marriage. Taemin tried to sit up, but pain shot through his chest. Marriage? But I barely know her. That does not matter, the ambassador said. The bond has been created. Galactic law recognizes Valerian sacred bonds. You are now engaged to my daughter. Kira squeezed his hand. I am sorry, she whispered. I did not want this to happen. But the law is the law. Ambassador Velanathi activated a holographic display. Images of 6 other young Valerian women appeared in the air. Each one was beautiful but different. One looked like a warrior. Another seemed to be reading a book. A third was working on some kind of machine. There is more, the ambassador said grimly. Kira has 6 sisters, under Article 847 of the Galactic Marriage Codex. If you marry one princess of a ruling family, you must marry all sisters to prevent succession crisis. This law exists to keep peace between worlds. Taemin stared at the images floating in front of him. 7 wives, 7 alien princesses. He had gone from being a simple cargo captain to being engaged to the most important family in Valerian space. What if I say no? He asked weakly. Then my daughter dies, Ambassador Velanathi said sadly. The sacred bond cannot be broken. If you refuse, her life force will fade away. She will become ill and eventually die. Kira's purple eyes filled with tears. I understand if you hate this. I never meant for it to happen. Taemin looked at her. Despite everything, he found himself wanting to protect her. Maybe it was the bond she talked about. Maybe it was just because she seemed kind and had helped him when she did not have to. Okay, he said finally. I will do it. Ambassador Velanathi smiled for the first time. Good. We will go to Viridian Prime tomorrow. There you will meet your other wives-to-be. As the ambassador left the room, Taemin closed his eyes. His simple life of flying cargo from planet to planet was over. Now he was going to be married to 7 alien princesses. He wondered if his insurance covered this kind of situation. Kira was still holding his hand. Thank you, she said softly. I promise I will try to make this work. Taemin squeezed her fingers gently. Me too, he said. Me too. The first thing Taemin noticed about Viridian Prime was how everything seemed alive. The buildings grew instead of being built. Trees with silver leaves lined streets that curved like rivers. Even the landing pad under his feet felt warm and soft. Kira walked beside him as they left the transport ship. She had been quiet during the journey, probably as nervous as he was. Ambassador Velanathi led them toward a massive structure that looked like a combination of palace and giant flower. Welcome to the Royal Gardens, the ambassador said. This is where my family lives. Inside, the walls moved slowly like they were breathing. Lights came from plants instead of bulbs. Everything was beautiful but strange. Taemin felt like he was walking through a dream. Your sisters are waiting in the main hall, Ambassador Velanathi told Kira. They are eager to meet their new brother-husband. Brother-husband. The words made Taemin's stomach twist. He still could not believe this was really happening. The main hall was huge, with a ceiling that opened to show the sky above. 3 Valerian women stood waiting for them. Each one was clearly related to Kira, but different in important ways. The first woman stepped forward. She was taller than Kira and had darker blue skin. Muscles showed under her simple clothes, and she carried herself like a soldier. Her silver hair was cut short, and her purple eyes were hard and suspicious. I am Vera, she said in a voice that could cut steel. I lead the Royal Guard. I protect my family from all threats. She looked at Taemin like he might be one of those threats. Nice to meet you, Taemin said, trying to sound confident. Vera walked around him slowly, studying him like a warrior studying an enemy. You are small for a human, she said, and weak. How can someone like you protect 7 wives? I protected Kira, Taemin said, once, by accident. Vera stopped in front of him. Protecting my sister for a lifetime will be much harder. Tomorrow we will test if you are worthy." The second sister stepped forward before Tae-min could ask what kind of test. She was shorter than Vera, but moved with quiet grace. Her blue skin was lighter, almost white, and her silver hair was long and braided with strange symbols. She carried a device that looked like a cross between a book and a computer. "I am Luna," she said. Her voice was soft but intelligent. "I study the old knowledge and new sciences. I have read about humans, but I have never met one before." She held up her device and scanned him with it. "Interesting. Your brain patterns are different from what the books describe." "Different? How?" Tae-min asked. "The plasma burn changed something inside your head," Luna explained. "Your neural pathways have adapted. This might explain why the sacred bond worked so well with Kira." The third sister bounced forward with energy that made Tae-min tired just watching her. She was the youngest looking, with bright blue skin and silver hair that seemed to move by itself. Her clothes were covered with oil stains, and she smelled like engine fuel. "I'm Nova," she said, grabbing Taemin's hand and shaking it hard. "I race ships through asteroid fields. Father says I have to marry you, but I think this whole thing is stupid. No offense." "None taken," Tae-min said. "Good. Want to see my ship? It's the fastest thing in 3-star systems." Nova started pulling him toward a door, but Vera grabbed her arm. "Later, little sister. First he must prove he is not a waste of our time." Ambassador Velanathi cleared his throat. "The other 3 sisters are away on important duties. Lyra commands our defense fleet near the Outer Rim. Stella leads a scientific mission in the Kepler Nebula. Aurora is negotiating trade agreements with the Centauri Republic." 7 careers, 7 personalities, 7 different lives, Tae-min thought. "And somehow, I'm supposed to be husband to all of them." A new voice spoke from the entrance. Well, the famous human has arrived." Everyone turned. 2 humans walked into the hall. One was a man about Tae-min's age, wearing a ship captain's uniform. The other was a woman in scientist's clothes, carrying a bag full of instruments. "Jin-woo!" Tae-min shouted happily. "What are you doing here?" "Captain Park." Jin-woo grinned and hugged his old friend. "I came as soon as I heard. The whole galaxy is talking about the human who's marrying 7 alien princesses. I had to see if you'd lost your mind." "Maybe I have," Tae-min admitted. The woman stepped forward and bowed politely to the Valerians. "I am Dr. Kim Sora, xenobiologist from Earth University. I study alien cultures. I came to help Captain Lee understand Valerian customs." Ambassador Velanathi nodded approvingly. "Wise. There is much to learn. Dr. Kim, you are welcome to stay and observe." Over the next few days, Tae-min learned just how much he did not know about his new life. Vera tested his fighting skills every morning. She used weapons that looked like living metal and moved faster than Tae-min thought possible. Every day, she beat him easily. "You are getting better," she said, after knocking him down for the 20th time. "But better is not good enough. My sisters need a husband who can protect them from real enemies." "I'm trying," Tae-min gasped, lying on the soft floor. "Try harder," Vera said. But he noticed she was not hitting him as hard as she had the first day. Luna tested his mind instead of his body. She gave him puzzles that hurt his brain to think about. Math problems with numbers that had no names. History questions about wars. Fought before humans left Earth. Science challenges about how to mix different types of energy. "Your learning speed is impressive," Luna said during one of their sessions. "Most humans cannot understand quantum mechanics this quickly." "I don't understand it at all," Tae-min protested. "But you are trying to understand it. That is what matters." Luna made notes in her device. "Your brain really has changed. The plasma, energy created new connections. This could be why you can form bonds with multiple Valerian females." Nova was the easiest sister to be around, but also the most dangerous. She loved showing off her piloting skills by flying through places that should have killed them both. Asteroid fields, ion storms, the rings of gas giants, nothing scared her. "You're crazy," Tae-min shouted as Nova flew her ship between 2 spinning asteroids. "Crazy is fun," Nova laughed. "Besides, if we die, you won't have to marry all of us." "That's not funny." "It's a little funny." Despite the constant testing, Tae-min found himself growing closer to the 3 sisters. Vera was tough but fair. Luna was quiet but kind. Nova was wild but loyal. He began to understand why the bond had formed so strongly with Kira. These were good people, even if they were alien. Dr. Kim Sora spent her time studying Valerian biology and culture. One evening, she asked to speak with Taemin privately. "I've discovered something important," she said. "The marriage law exists for a good reason. Valerian females go through something called the bonding flux every few years. It's like a biological cycle, but much more dangerous." "Dangerous how?" "Without a psychically compatible mate, the flux can kill them. The seven sisters need to share a bond to survive it. That's why they must all marry the same person." Taemin felt a chill. "So if I wasn't here, they would all die, eventually. The law isn't about politics or tradition. It's about survival." Dr. Kim looked serious. "Your brain changes from the plasma burn make you compatible with all seven of them. That's almost impossible. You might be the only person in the galaxy who can save their lives." That night, Taemin sat in the garden with Kira. The alien stars were beautiful but strange. Nothing looked familiar. "Are you unhappy?" Kira asked softly. "I'm scared," Taemin admitted. "This is all so different from my old life. Flying cargo from planet to planet was simple. This," he waved his hand at the living palace around them. "This is huge." "I am scared too," Kira said. "What if my sisters do not like you? What if you decide you cannot love all of us?" "I don't know about love yet," Taemin said honestly. "But I like your sisters. They're good people, strong, smart, brave. Any man would be lucky to know them." Kira smiled. "Even if they test you every day?" "Even then." They sat quietly for a while, watching strange birds fly through the alien night. Then alarms began ringing throughout the palace. Ambassador Velanathi ran into the garden, his face grim. "We just received a message from the Zephyrian Empire. They say the marriages are invalid because you are not Valerian. They are sending a war fleet to prove their point." "War?" Taemin stood up quickly. "The Zephyrians have wanted to invade our space for years," the ambassador explained. "They think the confusion over your marriages gives them an excuse. Their ships will be here in 3 days. Jinwoo appeared beside them, having heard the alarms. "How big is their fleet?" 200 ships, Ambassador Velanathi said grimly. "We have 50. Vera, Luna, and Nova came running from the palace. "Father, we should call Lyra back from the Outer Rim," Vera said. "Already done, but her fleet cannot return in time." Taemin looked at the worried faces around him. 3 days. Ago, he had been a simple cargo captain. Now a war was starting because of his marriage. "What can I do to help?" he asked. Ambassador Velanathi looked surprised. "This is not your fight, Captain Lee." "Yes, it is," Taemin said firmly. "If they're coming because I married into your family, then I have to help defend your family." Vera nodded approvingly. "Now you sound like a husband." As they walked back toward the palace to plan their defense, Taemin wondered if 3 days would be enough time to learn how to fight a war. He also wondered if he would live long enough to meet his other 3 wives. The war room in the royal gardens hummed with activity. Holographic star maps floated in the air, showing the positions of both Valerian and Zephyrian fleets. Red dots moved slowly toward the blue ones, like predators stalking prey. Taemin studied the displays, trying to understand the battle plans. The numbers looked bad. The Zephyrians had more ships, better weapons, and years of experience fighting wars. The Valerians were peaceful traders and explorers, not warriors. "Their main fleet will arrive in 18 hours, announced a communication officer. "Admiral Lyra's ships cannot return from the Outer Rim for at least 2 days. Ambassador Velanathi rubbed his temples. "We must hold them off until reinforcements arrive." "Impossible," said General Crix, the Valerian military commander. He was an older man with scars on his dark blue skin. "Their dreadnoughts will break through our defense line in the first hour." Vera slammed her hand on the table. "Then we make them pay for every meter of space. Dying bravely won't save our people," Luna said quietly. She was working with several data screens, calculating battle scenarios. "Every simulation shows the same result. We lose." Nova looked up from the ship, Specifications she was studying. What if we don't fight the way they expect? What do you mean? General Crix asked. Zephyrians are used to fighting other military fleets, Nova explained. Big ships in neat formations, shooting at each other until someone wins. But what if we fought like pirates instead? Hit-and-run attacks, ambushes, make them chase us through places where big ships can't go? General Crix shook his head. That's not how honorable warfare is conducted. Honor won't matter if we're all dead, Taemin said. Everyone looked at him. Sorry, I know I'm new to this, but Nova has a good idea. Sometimes the best way to fight a bigger enemy is to not fight fair. You would know about unfair fighting, said a new voice from the doorway. A woman entered the war room, and Taemin's breath caught. She had to be another sister. She looked like Vera, but taller and more dangerous. Her blue skin was darker, almost navy, and silver markings covered her arms like tattoos. She wore a military uniform that looked like it had seen real combat. Lyra! Kira ran to hug her sister. Admiral Lyra Vel Anathi returned the hug, but kept her eyes on Taemin. So you're the human who caused all this trouble. I'm Taemin. Nice to meet you. We'll see about that. Lyra walked to the star map and studied it quickly. I brought my fastest ships ahead of the main fleet. 30 vessels, but they're my best crews. General Crix looked hopeful. Can you break through their line? Not directly, but the human might have a point about fighting differently. Lyra turned to Taemin. What do you know about space combat? Nothing about military battles, Taemin admitted. But I know about running from pirates and customs officers. Good enough. Tell me your ideas. For the next few hours, they planned a defense that no military academy would have approved. Instead of meeting the enemy in open space, they would lure them into the asteroid belt around Viridian Prime. Nova knew every hiding spot and dangerous passage in the field. The Valerian ships would split up and attack from different directions, then disappear before the enemy could respond. It's crazy, General Crix muttered. Crazy enough to work, Lyra said. At least until my main fleet arrives. As the meeting broke up, Lyra approached Taemin. Walk with me, she said. It was not a request. They went on to a balcony overlooking the city. The sun was setting, turning the sky purple and gold. You know this is your fault, Lyra said without looking at him. I know. My sister nearly died because of pirates. Now we're facing a war because of your marriage. You bring trouble wherever you go. Taemin felt anger rising in his chest. I didn't ask for any of this. I was just trying to get my cargo delivered. But you accepted the consequences, Lyra said. You could have refused the bond and let Kira die. Instead, you chose to save her life, knowing it would change everything. She finally looked at him. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. Lyra studied his face for a long moment. Maybe. We'll see how right it was after the battle. The next morning brought more surprises. A new ship arrived carrying 2 more. Sisters. Taemin watched from the landing pad as they emerged. The first was tall and elegant, with skin so light it was almost white. She moved like a dancer and carried herself like royalty. Her silver hair was arranged in complex braids, and she wore clothes that looked expensive even by alien standards. Stella, Kira said happily. I thought you were in the Kepler Nebula. The situation here seemed more important than studying gas clouds, Stella replied. Her voice had an accent that sounded musical. Besides, I brought something that might help. The second woman was smaller but radiated confidence. Her blue skin had a slight green tint, and her silver hair was short and practical. She looked like someone who could talk her way out of any situation. Aurora, Ambassador Vela Nathi embraced his daughter. How did you get away from the Centauri negotiations? I convinced them that a Zephyrian victory would be bad for everyone's trade, Aurora explained. Sometimes diplomacy means making people afraid of the right things. Now all 7 sisters were together. Taemin felt overwhelmed looking at them. Each one was beautiful, intelligent, and accomplished in her own way. How was he supposed to be a good husband to any of them, much less all of them? Stella approached him with a device that looked like a crystal sculpture. I am pleased to meet you, Taemin. Kira has told us much about your courage. I'm not that brave, he said. Modest, too. That's rare in males. Stella activated her device. It projected a hologram of an ancient Valerian city. I have been exploring the outer galaxy, looking for traces of our ancestors. I found something interesting. The hologram changed to show a weapon that looked like it was grown rather than built. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. This is a harmony cannon, Stella explained. The ancients used them to defend against creatures that fed on life energy. The weapons can only be fired by someone who is psychically bonded to all 7 aspects of Valerian power. The 7 sisters, Luna breathed. Each of us represents one aspect: war, knowledge, youth, command, discovery, diplomacy, and unity. But they need a focus point, Stella continued. Someone who can channel all 7 bonds at once, someone like you, Taemin. There are 3 canon sites hidden on this world, Aurora added. I found the records in the Centauri archives, but they've been sealed for 1,000 years. Admiral Lyra looked interested. How powerful are these weapons? Powerful enough to destroy a dreadnought with one shot, Stella said, but using them is dangerous. The person who channels the energy... She looked worried. The records say many died trying. Ambassador Velinati frowned. We cannot ask Taemin to risk his life like that. You're not asking, Taemin said. I'm volunteering. Absolutely not, Kira said immediately. I will not lose you so soon after finding you. We need every advantage we can get, Taemin insisted. If these weapons can help save your people, we have to try. The debate continued, but it ended when the alarm started ringing again. The Zephyrian fleet had arrived early. On the main display, Taemin saw the most frightening sight of his life. Hundreds of black warships hung in space like angry insects. Their hulls bristled with weapons, and energy crackled between their shields. A message came through on all frequencies. The Zephyrian commander appeared on screen. A reptilian alien with yellow eyes and sharp teeth. Valerians, the commander hissed. I am War Leader Scar. You have violated galactic law by allowing an inferior species to marry into your royal family. Surrender now, and we will only enslave half your population. Resist, and we will kill them all. Ambassador Velanathi stepped forward. The marriages are legal under galactic law. We have done nothing wrong. Your law, not ours. We do not recognize human rights to alien marriage. Scar's image smiled coldly. You have 1 hour to surrender. The screen went dark. In the silence that followed, Taemin made his decision. I'm going to activate those weapons. The trial could kill you, Stella warned. The Zephyrians definitely will kill everyone if we lose, Taemin replied. At least this way we have a chance. Vera nodded approvingly. Finally, you sound like a warrior. I'll guide you to the first cannon site, Nova said. I know these asteroid fields better than anyone. And I'll help you understand the bonding process, Luna added. The energy flows are complex. We all will, Kira said, taking his hand. If you're going to risk everything for us, we'll face the risk together. Lyra smiled for the first time since arriving. Now you sound like family. As they prepared to leave for the first weapons site, Aurora pulled Taemin aside. There's something else you should know, she said quietly. My diplomatic contacts warned me about something. The Zephyrians aren't the real threat. What do you mean? Someone else is pulling their strings. Someone who wants the Valerian psychic network disrupted. Aurora looked frightened. Someone much more dangerous than reptilian warriors. Before Taemin could ask more questions, Nova was pulling him toward her ship. Time to go save the galaxy, she said cheerfully. This is going to be fun. Taemin looked back at the 6 sisters standing together, ready to follow him into danger. A week ago, he had been alone in space with a broken ship. Now he had a family worth dying for. He just hoped he would live long enough to learn. The first Harmony Cannon site lay deep within an asteroid field that Nova called the Graveyard. Ancient Valerian ships had died here centuries ago, their hulks now serving as hiding places for pirates and worse things. Nova's ship, the Silver, lightning, wove between floating rocks with impossible grace. Taemin gripped his seat as she spun through a gap barely wider than their hull. You're going to get us killed, he said through gritted teeth. Not today, Nova laughed. Today we get to use ancient superweapons. This is the most fun I've had in years. Behind them, the other sisters followed in their own ships. Each vessel was different, reflecting its owner's personality. Vera's ship looked like a weapon with engines. Luna's was covered in sensor arrays. Stella's seemed to be part crystal. Aurora's was sleek and diplomatic. Lyra's was pure military efficiency. Kira's glowed softly with biotechnology. There, Stella's voice came over the communication system. The energy signature matches the ancient records. Ahead of them, built into a massive asteroid, was a structure that looked like a flower made of metal and crystal. It was beautiful and alien, and clearly very old. They docked with the structure. Carefully. The airlock opened to reveal corridors that pulsed with dim light. Everything was curved and organic, like being inside a living creature. "The cannon is at the center," Stella said, consulting her ancient maps. "But first, Taemin must undergo the bonding trial." They walked through passages that seemed to watch them. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, and the air hummed with power that made Taemin's teeth ache. The central chamber was enormous. In the middle stood a chair that looked like it was grown from the asteroid itself. Above it, 7 crystal formations hung from the ceiling, each one glowing a different color. "Each crystal represents one of us," Luna explained. "When you sit in the chair, you'll connect with all 7 at once. The energy flow will be—" She paused. "Intense." "How intense?" Taemin asked. "The kind that kills most people?" Vera said bluntly. "But you're not most people. The plasma burn changed you. You might survive." "Might? Would you prefer we lie to you?" Aurora asked gently. Taemin looked at the chair, then at the 7 women around him. Each face showed worry and determination. They believed in him, even if he didn't believe in himself. "What do I have to do?" "Sit," Stella said. "Open your mind. Let us in." Taemin sat in the chair. Immediately, he felt energy flowing through him like warm water, but as the crystals began to glow brighter, the sensation changed to fire in his veins. "I can feel you." Kira's voice seemed to come from inside his head. "You're afraid?" "Of course I'm afraid," he thought back. "This hurts." "We're here," said Vera. "You're not alone." One by one, the other sisters joined the mental link. Luna brought knowledge and understanding. Nova added youth and energy. Lyra contributed strength and command. Stella offered discovery and wonder. Aurora provided wisdom and diplomacy. The pain grew worse as all 7 connections formed. Taemin felt like his mind was being stretched in different directions. But underneath the pain was something else. A sense of completeness he had never experienced before. "Now," whispered all 7 voices together. "Fire the cannon." Taemin opened his eyes. The chamber had changed. The crystals blazed with light, and energy flowed through patterns carved into the walls. In front of him, the final battle began across 7 star systems at once. 6 Void Lords led their entropy fleets against every major world in the galaxy. From his position on the command ship New Harmony, Taemin watched the largest war in galactic history unfold. 17 bonded groups confirmed ready, reported Dr. Kim Sora from the tactical station. Each one is linked to the main network. Over the past month, they had worked frantically to create new bonded teams. 17 humans with brain changes like Taemin's had been paired with alien families. The results were amazing and terrifying. A human named Daeho was bonded to 3 crystal beings who could predict the future. A woman called Min-ji had married into a hive mind species, giving her control over thousands of small ships at once. Each bonded group brought unique abilities to the fight. "All groups report ready," said Admiral Lyra through the psychic link. "But the enemy fleets are massive. We're still outnumbered 10-1. Through the mental network, Taemin could see the entire galaxy like a living map. Red dots showed Void Lord positions. Blue dots were allied forces. Green dots marked the bonded groups scattered throughout space. "Remember," he broadcast to all 17 groups, "we're not trying to destroy them. We're trying to save them." The Void Lords attacked first. Their entropy weapons reached across impossible distances, draining the life from entire planets. But something was different this time. The psychic network connecting all the bonded groups created a shield of life energy that protected the most. Important worlds. It's working, whispered Kira through the bond. The connections are too strong for them to break easily. In the Kepler system, Daiho and his crystal wives used their future sight to guide human ships through void attacks that had not happened yet. In the Centauri sector, Minji's hive mind bond let her control a swarm of small fighters that moved. Like a school of fish, each bonded group fought differently, but they all fought together. The psychic network let them share strategies instantly and coordinate attacks across vast distances. First Void Lord is weakening, reported General Choi from the human fleet. The entropy drain is reversing. Taemin watched as the first enemy. Lord began to change. Dark energy shifted to purple, then blue, then bright white. The transformation that had begun with the Void Empress was spreading. "Brother," the changing Void Lord called to the others. "The pain is ending. The hunger is stopping. I can feel connection without consumption." "Lies!" screamed another Void Lord. "They are poisoning your mind with their disease of unity." The galaxy-wide battle continued, but now it was not just between life and entropy. It was between fear and hope, isolation and connection, the old way and the new way. 3 more Void Lords began to evolve, their ships transforming from nightmares into things of beauty. But the remaining 3 fought harder, pouring more dark energy into their attacks. "The stubborn ones are getting desperate," observed Luna through the network. "They're preparing something big." She was right. The 3 unchanged Void Lords were, combining their fleets into a single massive force. Dark energy flowed between their ships, creating a weapon that could drain the life from an entire galaxy. "They're going to try to break every psychic bond at once," Stella realized. "If they succeed, every bonded group will die." "How long until they're ready?" Taemin asked. 20 minutes, Dr. Kim calculated. "Then we have 20 minutes to try something crazy," Taemin said. "Aurora, can you contact every leader in the galaxy? Human, Valerian, Zephyrian, everyone?" "Yes, but why?" "Because I want to try the biggest bonding experiment in history." For the next 15 minutes, Aurora worked her diplomatic magic. Leaders who had been enemies for centuries agreed to try Taemin's desperate plan. President Yoon of the Human Alliance, Queen Alara of the Valerians, War Leader Scar of the Zephyrians, and dozens of other species leaders. "Everyone linked to the network," Dr. Kim announced. "We have over 1 million minds connected through the bonded groups." "This has never been attempted," Luna warned. "The psychic strain could kill everyone involved." "The alternative is worse," Taemin said. "If we don't try, the galaxy dies anyway." The final attack began. Dark energy poured from the combined Void Lord fleet like a black tide. It reached across space, seeking to break every bond, sever every connection, return the galaxy to cold separation. But it met something unexpected. Instead of scattered resistance from individual worlds, it encountered a unified consciousness spanning hundreds of species and billions of minds. The galaxy itself had become a single bonded entity. "Impossible," whispered the lead Void Lord. "Life cannot unite at this scale." "Watch us," Taemin replied through the galaxy-wide link. The dark energy struck the psychic network and changed. Just as it had with the Void Empress, the entropy force found new patterns when faced with true unity. Instead of destroying bonds, it began creating new ones. The transformation spread from the network to the attacking Void Lords themselves. Dark energy became light energy. Entropy became creation. Isolation became connection. "We remember," said the last Void Lord, as his form shifted from shadow to starlight. "Before the hunger, before the loneliness. We remember what it was like to be part of something larger. Across the galaxy, the war ended, not with destruction, but with evolution. The Void Lords became beings of pure creative energy, using their power to restore the systems they had drained instead of destroying new ones." "It's over," Kira said, appearing on the bridge with tears in her eyes. "The threat is finished." "This threat," Taemin corrected gently. "The galaxy is a big place. There will always be new challenges. But we'll face them together," said all 7 sisters at once through the bond. In the months that followed, the galaxy changed completely. The Unity Academy was established on Viridian Prime, teaching interspecies bonding and cooperation. Humans proved to be natural bridge builders, able to form psychic connections with almost any species they met. The former Void Lords became the Harmony Guardians, using their evolved powers to protect young civilizations from the kinds of isolation and fear that had once consumed them. Taemin found himself appointed as the first Galactic Unity Coordinator, a job that involved more paperwork than he had expected. But every day brought new wonders. Alien species learning to work together, former enemies becoming friends, and children being born from unions that would have been impossible before. "Do you miss it?" Kira asked one evening as they walked through the Academy Gardens. "Your old life as a cargo captain?" Taemin considered the question. His 7 wives walked with them, each one now as familiar to him as his own thoughts. Through the psychic bond, he could feel their love and support like a warm blanket around his mind. Sometimes, he admitted, it was simpler then, just me, my ship, and the next delivery. "But lonely," Nova pointed out. "You told us you were lonely?" "Yes," Taemin agreed. "Very lonely." They reached the center of the garden where a fountain made of living crystals sang soft melodies. Around them, students from dozens of species practiced forming their own bonds. Human-Valerian pairs worked alongside Zephyrian crystal combinations and unions that had no names yet. "The children will never know the loneliness we grew up with," Stella observed. "They'll think unity is normal." "Good," said Lyra firmly. "Let them build something better than what we had." A message crystal activated near the fountain, showing Aurora's image. "Sorry to interrupt your evening walk, but we just received something interesting. A transmission from the Andromeda Galaxy." "Another galaxy?" Dr. Kim appeared in the projection beside Aurora. "The signal is weak, but it seems to be asking for help. Something about the hunger between stars, threatening their worlds." Taemin looked at his wives, seeing excitement and determination in their faces. The psychic bond that connected them all hummed with shared purpose. "Well," he said with a smile, "looks like our work isn't finished." "Is it ever?" Vera asked with a grin. 3 days later, the first intergalactic exploration ship launched from Viridian Prime. The Greater Harmony carried bonded teams from dozens of species, united in purpose and connected by bonds that could span any distance. They jumped to faster-than-light speed, heading for mysteries in another galaxy. Taemin reflected on how much his life had changed. He had started as one man alone in a broken ship. Now he was part of something larger than he had ever imagined possible. Through the ship's viewports, he watched the stars of his home galaxy fade behind them. Somewhere ahead lay new challenges, new species to meet, new bonds to form. "Ready for another adventure?" Kira asked, taking his hand. "With all of you?" "Always," Taemin replied. In the cargo bay, alien children played together while their parents prepared for whatever they might find in Andromeda. The youngest ones had been born into a galaxy where cooperation was normal and unity was expected. They would be the ones to carry the message of connection to whatever lay ahead. The age of isolated worlds was ending. The age of galactic unity had begun. And it had all started with one human man who chose to save a stranger's life, not knowing that simple act of kindness would change the course of history. The stars ahead were calling. Together, they would answer.